You know, there are quite a lot of divergent stories. It's not like there's one single story for us to tell. So if we look at England in particular, well, let's kind of look at the big picture. So there's our map, and we're going to keep that updated as results come through. You can see at the moment, you know, we're about halfway in terms of the councils, number of councils counted across these English local elections. We're talking about councils here, and this kind of departure board is showing you who has control of each different council. So you're not talking about seats here, you're talking about who has the majority on the different councils. Obviously red for Labour, that's grey for no overall control, where there isn't control, or indeed in some cases independent control. Then you've got blue, obviously, and then the Lib Dems in orange, you can see as well. But if we actually kind of dig into the numbers, one of the striking trends that we've seen is happening in London. So let's look at the story in London, and bear in mind, as I say, there is not one single nationwide story, as you're going to see in a moment, but in London, it's pretty clear what's going on. Labour already, it was a Labour stronghold to start with, but they have really reinforced their support. Actually, if we start over here, have a look at overall London seats, OK, because there you get the picture of what's going on here. Just look at how many seats across councils in London that we've had counted so far. So we're kind of about 1,000 so far. Just look at Labour's dominance in London, 648 of those seats that we have so far, up by 43, and they were already very strong indeed. Remember, what we're doing with these elections is we're comparing it to the last time these same council seats were up for election back in 2018. That was a really strong year for Labour. So any increase is, as far as Labour's concerned, good news in London, up by 43. Lib Dems up a little bit there in London as well. But the striking thing is you've got these kind of totemic councils like Westminster, which has been Conservative held basically since it was created back in 1964. Labour up by 13 seats. They're taking 13 and taking control of Westminster Council. But Wandsworth as well. Conservative, this is, again, one of these Conservative strongholds, one of these totemic seats, councils. Conservatives down by 8, Labour up by 8 seats on Wandsworth. And if we just kind of look back through history, get a sense of just how control of this council in Wandsworth has changed over time, you can see what we're looking at here. So since 1978, it's been held by the Conservatives, controlled by the Conservatives. And for around that period, we're looking at, that's the end of the 1970s there. For around that period, you can see Labour and the Conservatives in kind of relatively neck and neck. But just look at what happened through the 90s, through the 2000s. Conservatives absolutely dominant there in South London, in Wandsworth. But look at what's happened here. With these results, Labour has overtaken the Conservatives now to take control of Wandsworth. That is a big moment, and Keir Starmer will be very happy indeed with that. But it's not like you're seeing that replicated across all of England. So bring back the England map and now have a look at some of these places which you might have thought Labour might have a chance for. For instance, Hartlepool. How about Hartlepool? Well, it was no overall control before these elections, but Labour might have been hoping, given that they have seen some kind of polling success in this red wall area of the UK, they might have been hoping that they could get the number of seats on this council up. Instead, no change at all, so still just 11. So they haven't actually kind of progressed and increased their numbers in Hartlepool. And in England as a whole, they're not necessarily doing quite as well as they might have hoped. And if you have a look at different regions of England, this is a striking thing, OK? So look in the south. So at the very top there, you can see in the south, this is the change in the share of the vote. The Conservatives down very sharply indeed. Labour down only a bit. Look in the north, Labour actually down compared to last time around. That was their high point, 1998, so not doing quite as well as they might have hoped. So that's the point. They're doing not quite as well as they might have hoped here. One final point, though, Sophie, worth noting, the Lib Dems up pretty strongly in most parts of England. And when you look at the different councils we're talking about, well, this one I want to just focus on to finish with. Hull, Kingston upon Hull, you can see there, that has gone orange. It's gone over to the Lib Dems. They've gained it from Labour. That will be seen as a big moment, as indeed as in West Oxfordshire. Talismanic seat again for the Conservatives, but they have lost control thanks to big increases from the Lib Dems. So you've got lots of things going on all around England, and we'll bring you the story from other parts of the UK as well.